Hey, Nicole.
Hey, Nicole.
So you ready to do today's? I know you're excited.
Yes. Mm.
Let's get through our sponsors first. All right. So first up,
Irby Entertainment, your premier international DJ and booking company in urban apparel wear. And I'm so excited to say that we are in multiple countries now when it comes to booking DJs. So I'm excited about that. As I'm seeing a post go up about, Irby spreading across the world. So if you're interested as a DJ and you need some gigs or you're trying to get someone to book you and get that exposure, definitely contact us on Facebook. And our urban wear is up and coming. So get excited about that.
sweet, sweet. Next up,
Share Dazzle Salon. I'm almost due, but I'm still looking fabulous
look,
when it
man on the
comes to
gallery
my hair.
notice.
It's still doing what it does. It's sweet and keep junk over at Share Dazzle Salon in the Sam Circle area of Chesapeake, Virginia. So whether it's natural hair, protective styles, color, any of those things that you may need for your hair care needs, see the ladies over at Sheer Dazzle Salon, Chesapeake, Virginia, in the Sam Circle area, or contact me for more information.
All right. And next.
Color You Cosmetics, and today, for once in a while, I have a full beat. Because I've been struggling. I mean, I don't know if you all know what I do for a living, but it's been rough. So needless to say, I have a full beat today of all of their products, and this is the brainchild of Karen Stallings, who has a MUA school here in Norfolk, Virginia, as well as makeup products here in Norfolk, as well as in Lithonia, Georgia. So if you're interested in purchasing our products, getting color match, becoming part of the MUA school, um, or even when it comes to an event center that she has, please hit her up on Facebook and on Instagram. Color You Cosmetics.
All right. And now, shall we get into it?
And we shall, and this will probably be a short broadcast because I have little to say.
She has strong opinions, but it won't take her long to get through it. All right. So
Won't.
we're talking about Bruised, Halle Berry's directorial debut, which she also stars in. I'm gonna let you go first.
Well, what I would say is I commend her on taking a step out. It takes a lot to go from being an actress to getting behind the camera because they consider it behind the camera work and actually leading, actors, where it is they need to be when it comes to present themselves well on screen. So for that, I'm proud of her,
Mhm.
when it comes to that. But I did not like the film at all. I didn't. I didn't.
Anything in
Um,
particular?
the entire thing. And I want Netflix to refund me some change. We have to negotiate that in court. And I want some of my Sunday evening back. I do. And yeah, it was rough. It was rough. And what I'm going to do is I'm letting Kay kind of talk about the things that she did like about the film and delve into that because I really wanted to lead off with something positive, which I did. It's the fact that I'm proud of her doing that because as
Mhm.
a woman of color, you're branching out and doing something, stepping out your comfort zone because you're used to being given lines and you having to present on those lines and show up. I get that. And then she decided to go in this different vein, which eventually they all do.
Yeah.
Have their names, written on stuff twice. I get it. But past that, I have nothing. Go ahead, Nikki, share.
Okay, so I wasn't thrilled with it. I give it at least a three. That's where I am on the rate. A three, and I'm gonna tell you why. The story wasn't horrible. It was predictable. They could have done some other things with it. But overall, the story that was being told wasn't horrible. It's basic. And if you start at that point, it's an okay movie. Um, things that I was challenged with. Oh, let me get to the other positive thing. That first thing I said was positive. The second positive thing was her reason for doing the film was she wanted to take on the types of roles that she's been denied. She wanted, I guess, deeper drama. Don't give me that look. And so she found a script that she liked and she decided to be the director. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Didn't she do Monsters Ball? Didn't a lot of this movie seem to harken back to what we experienced
I'm
of
getting
her in Monsters Ball?
I'm
But
getting
oh, okay,
I'm getting
okay.
to that. Because I think what you're alluding to in Monsters Ball was the nude scene, kind of sort of.
A lot of stuff
Yeah.
that was there was a lot.
Yeah, so as
There was
I
a
was
lot.
watching it, I've kind of processed that same thing. And I think the thing that bothered me the most were the sex scenes. There were only two. One there 5 minutes,
Too
wasn't
many.
all the time. It was two, and I think those two scenes were unnecessary.
Well, what I would say is I think the whole movie was unnecessary. It did too much. It did a lot. It
Hmm.
did a lot. And yeah, the new scenes were they were a bit much and unnecessary. And they were kind of like there to prove. I think the point it was they were trying to get at is the toxicity of her relationship with the guy that she was living with.
Didn't need sex.
And then yeah, and then the other end was showing how she was evolving, into something that was more caring and more nurturing and what that looked like. But that could have been alluded to in other ways. But again,
Yeah.
I just felt like the film did too much.
Yeah, the other scene, I was like, they couldn't just be friends
Oh
and
no, girl.
share
No, no,
and share a different type of intimacy or understanding or display of love.
no.
Because I think who Bobby was established as soon as Bobby was introduced. I don't think we needed to have the visual to go with it, the full visual to go with it.
I I think it was done purposely because I think that there was a message, or I don't want to use the word agenda because that's a loaded term. I just feel like there was something that an image that they wanted to like push out in all this. Um,
They wanted to show the inclusivity and diversity, and I get it.
but that's what made the movie seem like it did too much. Which okay,
Right.
let's wind it back. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's start from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we start off and she's having this argument, with her significant other that she lives with,
Mm-hmm.
and it's toxic language, the cursing, the belittling, the put downs or whatever, and that turns into a full blown sex scene. Real gritty, grimy. I'm getting it in, and it's like, oh, all the emotion and passion because that's a turn on supposedly. That would be a no. Okay, so we had that. Then it kind of alludes to the fact that all right, she she's used to abuse. She's used to being talked to a certain way. She's used to being handled a certain way, and this is how I operate with her. Okay, so we already know that somehow we're going to get to, if the movie does what's supposed to, we're going to get to the why behind that, and eventually, to a certain extent, we do. So then we move on, and we see the volatile nature of what makes her an excellent fighter. If she gets angry enough, if she taps into that anger, then it gets messy, it gets gory, it gets. So then we kind of touch on the fact that who's guiding all this between these women is men. Men are manipulating everything.
Mm-hmm.
Her manager slash boyfriend is manipulating her. The guy that wants her to go into the fighting league that she eventually gets into manipulates her too. So we roll into that. Then okay, typical. So then all of a sudden, this child pops up out of nowhere. She decides that she decides that she wants to fight. This kid pops up, and I think this part was the poor acting for me, was the shock on her face when the mom said that the dad was killed. It was a look on the look on her face was like, I was like, please do better. But but anyway, you have
But
that going
if
on.
I can interrupt you, even that part, you know, the matter of factness of her mom, that delivery was one thing, but then you don't get much more backstory about the connection between her and the father to potentially explain the kid. That comes so much later in the film when it's like, I don't care now.
It
And
was it was kind of rushed. It's like when the kid first gets introduced, you get all the information all at one time. The fact that he was living with the dad down in Florida, and that he got killed. But why he get killed? Well, he was, he was an informant. I forgot what the whole storyline. So
he
you
was
get
working up.
tossed all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get tossed all that, and then to put the ice on the cake, the girlfriend was taking care of him, but then the little boy stopped talking, so she didn't think she could handle it. So here he shows up at the mama's house because they couldn't find her, and it just seemed like it was a lot, and just all brought into like 2 minutes worth of storyline. It was just a lot to unpack. So then you
Hmm.
have him. And then you go through the trauma of trying to get him in school with no records. Well, we're not going to touch that. I'm an administrator. So that whole thing bothered me. I was like, Lord help us. All this is so inaccurate. So anyway, no, please don't
Hmm.
do it. So then you got that. And then we move in further. And this whole synopsis that we're doing, people, is a spoiler alert, because I'm going to spoil the whole thing for you. So then we get further into it. The new trainer,
Hmm.
the one that she eventually falls in love with or has a relationship with or whatever she gets into,
Hmm.
gets a connection with the little boy. Then it was a scene where he put some stuff in the microwave and on the stove, went to play at the keyboard, and almost set the house on fire. And I didn't quite understand that scene at all, because it was like a disconnect as to how, well, I get ADHD, his special needs. I don't know. We never found out if the child had special needs, or whether or not
I
it
think
was
that
just
was
the trauma
right.
response.
That's all it was. He wasn't
Hmm.
speaking because of the trauma. It wasn't that he had special needs. But when you talk about the school part, even that,
So,
like, that's not how it works. If the kid ain't speaking, they're
right.
not drop them anywhere. So,
So you have all that. So then she gets trained, and then she eventually falls for her trainer, who they have a sexual encounter, and then she's inspiring her, encourage her to to be her best woman, be her best self, and you can see the glow on her face, and all of a sudden, the black eye that she's had the entire movie disappears. Because did you notice that? Because she literally had a
what?
black eye. She got a black
Oh
eye
yeah, yeah,
early
yeah, yeah,
on,
yeah, yeah.
and the black eye, once she found love, that black eye disappeared. Like you picked
Symbol
that
of
up. Because once shot with old girl, all of a sudden her skin was clear. I mean, blemish free. I mean, her braids were
love will do
popping.
that.
It was
Love will
like,
do that. Hmm.
I
Do
said, but
everything but pay.
but it would, but a black eye you have for 2/3 of the movie. Just okay. So I was like, okay, we're gonna let that happen. Okay, and then I think what really made me mad was that she got off on girl only to tell her, I need this time by myself. Well, why did you do it? Well, because I needed this. But see, I thought it was stupid. If the trainer says, do you know how many of the fighters I've gotten in relationships with? And it's like, if this keeps happening, then why you keep getting into stuff with people that are flaky and vulnerable? Which we had to know that she was going to be.
I didn't. You know what?
On, on our,
I didn't read that
hmm?
comment that way. I read it at when she said that. I read it as, I don't get involved with my fighters, and you're the first one I was this vulnerable with.
But then you have to think to yourself, did you not like look at everything that was going on for her and not sense that somehow this may be a fling, or she was in need of something and you gave her that extra something, and that she very well may not be gay but just needed affection, and you gave her a level of affection that she hadn't had before.
And
Because we, because
that's what I'm talking about. That whole scene, I was like, to go through all of this to get to them having sex and then it being a disappointment because, okay, we're not on the same emotional level or the same relationship page. For all of that, they could have made Bobby a sister friend. And they didn't have to have physical intimacy. They could have had sisterhood intimacy and had a fight, and Bobby could have gone her way. She could have gone her way.
and we're not going to talk about the fact that the relationship with her and her mom, how dysfunctional that was and toxic. Her mom talking to her any kind of way, not being a good parent, exposing her to levels of abuse that pretty much precipitated in her becoming the person she became.
Mm-hmm.
At the feet of her mom, just not being attentive,
Mm-hmm.
and then I guess the rape and molestation that went on with that, of her different boyfriends and everything that was happening, that kind of unfolded.
And
It
then
just to
you let her take your son. That never would
Yeah,
happen in my world.
and then
What
and
do you
then
mean
I
you got-
and then I didn't quite understand. Okay, she had an anxiety attack and like was in the bathroom, had an anxiety attack, came out minutes later, Louisville was gone. Only to be found later on at 11 o'clock by somebody who read something on a napkin that got him to his grandmama. And the grandma didn't think that the mama got cell phone, called her, tell her,
say that one more time? You're breaking up.
I was saying that the other didn't think or even contact her. She had her word all day long. And because she hadn't gotten it after midnight, because she made a comment, they found him at 11 o'clock at night. So when were you going to let me know that you had him? I'm right here looking for him, searching the high and low, and finally just got exhausted enough just to come to your place. And it was, to me, I said all that to say this. It did too much. And it tried to bring in too many different elements, too many different storylines, too many different circumstances from a variety of different places. And then I was talking to a friend of mine, and I don't know how connected this is. The name that she chose for herself, the last name Justice. And she was married to David Justice. And
Mm-hmm.
supposedly she experienced a lot of hurt and trauma and abuse in a variety of ways through him. I think that was her first husband.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, is this hearkening to? I mean, it was
I didn't
doing.
connect that dot, but okay.
I didn't either, but a friend of
Mm-hmm.
mine did because because I didn't suffer through this by myself. Sometimes you have to take company with you, but so now I owe a debt. So as tribute. So
Okay.
so and then of course, you get to the end, you have this big rocky build up of, she's fighting this person or whatever, and she comes off like the female Apollo Creed, only for it to be like a draw, another person gets the title.
And see, that's to me, that was the best part of there was movement at that point. And at
And
that point, I was like, okay, this part makes sense to me because if she lost, she still won. If she won, she still won. So it's like, okay, I can deal with this part of it after hearing about the rest of it. And I was really sitting there going, oh my God, is she gonna hit her? Oh, take her, take her. I'm watching it like it's a real
mhm,
fight. But again,
yeah.
the movie was such a slow burn that that last scene was like, okay, now I got something to sink my teeth into.
Well, by then I was exhausted and I just wanted it to be over. But I'm tired. It's long day. I'm not going on.
Well,
I prepare for work. Yeah.
I tell you what I did because I had to prove to myself somehow that the movie wasn't as bad as I thought. I went back and watched Catwoman, and I actually
Yeah,
liked Cat.
she did a great job with that. And that's my
A lot,
to me.
a lot of people hate that movie. Watching it now in 2022, it's corny, but it's a good corny.
I'm gonna tell you why they hated it, because in their mind, no one can ever beat Eartha Kitt and the other one. Oh my God, what's her name? the white one from Batman. It's on the tip of my tongue.
I don't know her
Oh
name
my goodness.
you're talking
I
about.
can't think of her name. Oh, I feel so bad, and Don would get me because I should know better.
Yes, he
But
would.
but
But the other the third reason I think is because it wasn't exactly what the comic book canon said, and
well, people can get over that.
hmm
People, I put this, people don't charge actor for that. They charge the writer for that. Real true aficionados of comic book world. But what they will do is they'll judge you on how good you portray that character compared to the others. That's no different than Bond. You know what I'm saying? There are 59 different Bonds. As a matter of fact, we're about to go into another one. So, and that was a good movie. Gosh, that's not part of what we do here. But anyway, because I would love to critique that movie did something to me. I loved it. But anyway, I love him as Bond. But needless to say, people can't get past your acting for that particular role if you're not good in it. So they can the majority of people watching these films, a lot of them don't even know what the comic book even details. They have no clue. But they
right.
do know Eartha. They do know Eartha Kitt. They do know. Oh my gosh, her name was on the tip of my tongue from all the Batman series. They do know her, and they do know when Halle Berry came on the scene. And when you compare all three, she is the least of the three, I would say. Now her
Mhm.
athleticism. That's one thing I can say. Let me give you credit. Give her credit where credit's due. She leaned all the way out for this, but
Yeah.
also keep in mind that she has a fitness line now.
hmm
So she has a fitness line now. So she's in shape, for her age or whatever. So I gotta give her kudos because
Yeah.
the age that she is, she's looking better than some 19, 20 years olds
You-
out here. So she's killing the game
yeah.
with that. And the fight scenes, I don't think they use a lot of stunt doubles unless their
Mhm.
camera work was impeccable
You
if they
would.
did, because it seemed like she did a lot of her own.
She did. She did.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that they said. She took actual hits in that film, and I think I recall hearing that she actually cracked a couple of ribs doing doing the film. So she went all the way in on this with the fighting, the athleticism, all of that stuff.
But but how many films has she been in where she had a son? How many films has she been in that the son had some type of disability or was challenged? How many films has she
Mhm.
been in and a child died or succumbed additional trauma under her care? Just by all of them. So my thing is that it's for her to say that she was trying to do something that was outside the scope or she's been offered is not so. Um, may not have the script may not have encapsulated all of them in one film, but but that's what it
Right.
just felt like to me.
Yeah.
It felt overdone, and it just seemed like if you were going to do a summary of all the work that she's done outside the other action films that she's been in, like the Bonds and the Bat, and the Cat Girl, whatever, and
Mhm.
Babs or whatever. I even liked her in Babs. See, that's my whole thing.
I haven't
I
seen
liked her in Babs.
I haven't
Mm,
seen Babs. But and you know why? That was my bias. That was my bias. I'm like, there's enough at the time. I'm like, there's enough chicks walking around with this glued on hair that sits this high. I don't need to go to a movie and see it. But I've heard great things about Babs, but I wasn't.
it was a really sweet movie, and when it comes on now, I, I watch it out of nostalgia because I remember what I was doing at the time because I was in my 20s. Ooh, God, I date myself. I was in my 20s when it was out. As a matter of fact, I was in college, and
Mhm.
it was a good feel good movie, and it had a good message in it. It really did, and they evolved. Not they didn't devolve; they actually evolved in the movie.
Mhm.
So you
Okay.
you can see them progressing as people. So it really did have its. And at the time that she did it, she was going through quite a bit in her personal
Person.
life. Um,
Yeah.
she was going through a lot of loss when it came to, I think that was when her first marriage broke up or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah. So basically I didn't care for it. I felt like it did too much, bring it full circle.
Mhm.
I'm proud of what she put into it to make it work. you
Yeah.
know, her fighting and things like that. I mean, it would have to take a fighter to look at and tell me, if, you know, if they didn't think it was convincing. But based off what I saw, that was very convincing. The
Hmm.
athleticism behind it, I can appreciate. But the fact that she tried to include so many toxic, sad elements to kind of paint this picture as to why this person is who they are. And I'm not saying that there aren't people walking around that don't have all that going on, but it just seems very melodramatic. The only thing that didn't happen was she didn't have a rare condition herself or illness, like on the soap operas. That's gonna kill you in
Right.
48 hours. That's the
Hmm.
only thing that she didn't. That's the only thing that didn't bear out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, she had some type of illness or sickness herself. So yeah,
Yeah. I think, and to
that's
the
where.
point of the athleticism, I think that's what it was for her. It was that gritty role that she wanted to do, and being an MMA fighter was it. But like you said, like I said at the start, it's a basic story, slow burn until the last scenes. I'll give it a three because it's something that you can put on in the living room while you're cooking dinner in the kitchen, and you can keep up with it. It's that kind of thing. So, and
But why would you want to? But okay.
I do that all the time. There's stuff that I watch and rewatch that I pop this tablet up on one end of the counter, and I'm chopping onions and everything else while I'm like, oh wait, let me stop.
That's
That
it.
just
And I have my
happened.
now Babs for me would be a movie like that. That's
Mm-hmm.
one of those I wouldn't mind having that on in the background so I can say some of the lines and laugh and kiki or um I don't know. I guess we all have our picks. I would
Yeah.
say I would tell anybody see it for yourself and see if that's something that you like or
Mm-hmm.
you can identify with. I don't. It's more. I don't think it's a like movie. It's more of identify with the movie. I just couldn't find myself in that space because so much was going on. So yeah, that's it.
So you're not
I
even
don't
giving
know.
a rating, huh?
No, mm-mm, I won't. I won't do that.
Well, all right. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Follow us on our platforms. You can find me at nikkeiwrites.wordpress.com. And Nicole, you have anything coming up?
I do. My website is being revamped. Everything's being revamped. So you know you'll see it with new hair, new look, new everything. It's my hair, but it's just gonna look different. But anyway, I do have. I'm not doing a glued in hair like she said. Don't get me people that do weave. Don't do it. That's the case talking. She's against you all as a people. But
You know
anyway,
what? Even do that to me.
but I do have a series coming out based off my book. An 18-part series. So it's real
Okay.
short nuggets because I don't believe in holding people. That will be rolling out. It's on the editing floor right now. You know, getting together. So I'm excited about it because when I come out this time, I'm coming out right. I came out the first time right, and then I
You
fell
came
off, but
out.
now I'm
You
coming
came
back
out
out.
strong. You
I
came
know I
out
came
strong.
out I came out the stalls running, and then
Mhm.
yeah, it happened. But either way, I have
Right.
that coming out. I'm excited about it. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm still writing for Off the Bench magazine. So that's a digital magazine. So check that out.
Okay. See, we need to get off the bench on this list here, don't we? And
We do.
we need to get them on
And what do
here.
you have new coming out in the K because you can write. So what do you got going on?
Well, I managed to do a blog post the other day, and in my day job, I'm just so overwhelmed because I'm the person who has to write a lot of the content for the organization. So by the time I sit down on the weekends, I'm like, do I have to look at another word? Do I have to
Yeah.
write a sentence? So, yeah. But I'm drip drab writing. I have a book that I've been sitting on for a while that I'm editing, but slow progress, slow progress. And as you can see right there, I have put, speaking of writing, Don Miskel's website. Go forth, visit, check out his blog, check out his book. Look him up on Amazon. He has what, at least three, right?
Yeah.
Three of his.
And a few anthologies, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So go check out his work as well. And at the beginning of this program, you heard from Robert Rice Jr. That is his song. I have to look up the title of the song again, but visit him at smoothology.net. Check out his music, download some stuff. And as always, make sure that you like and subscribe. Nicole, tell them where they can find us.
You can find us in two places. You can find us on YouTube under Media That Moves We. And you can also find us on Facebook under Movies That Move We. Now, of course, Media That Moves We, you can join it, subscribe to it and watch some of our own works that included Dawn, and of course our current work when it comes to Movies That Move We. But on Facebook, you have to actually answer 3 questions in order to become a part of the group. And it's nothing leading or deep. It's just to make sure that we don't have trolls and people soliciting, trying to sell us all types of stuff and,
Right,
trying to hack our information. We just want people that want to be a part of the community and share their ideas and share their thoughts or whatever. So that's where we take what we're talking about now and move it to another platform so we can have more open discussion, dialogue, and have more people sharing. Because right now it's just the can now, but you gotta know if there are people out here that have more of an opinion on that. So please become part of Media That Moves We on YouTube and part of Movies That Move We on Facebook. And the K and I are working on changing the platform a little bit and adding some other little features. So just look for that coming up. Probably we'll have some things hashed out by the summer. So working on some
yeah.
new things.
All right.
Hmm.
So until next time, people, see you around. And don't be afraid to go to any of those platforms and say, hey, have y'all seen this black film? Because we're always looking for something new to watch, something new or something
We
old.
are. We are.
Tell us what you'd like to see. All right. So until next time, see you later, folks.
Bye. Ciao.
Bye.